back in session. You may be seated.
All right, we're back on the record. Just wanted to remind everyone that
Recording in progress.
I'm going, when the jury returns, to go ahead and advise them that the first question that was asked has Mr. Mitchell had asked it and the witness had responded. The second question is one that there will be further evidence on. So.
And Your Honor, I don't have any objection if you want to tell them what the answer was or have the court reporter read it. I mean, he answered it. So. Never mind.
I look back at it.
We can question some more.
Well, I don't care if you question him or not. I'm just saying my point was that Mr. Mitchell asked the question and it was answered, and that normally is sufficient. That was handed to me before he had finished his questioning.
Okay.
So, bring the jury in. This building? The jurors have asked if they could have a tour at some point of the Justice Center building. Anybody have any objection to letting them have a guarded tour?
No, Your Honor. I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Before we took our break, I was handed two questions. The first question was, did Mr. Morse perceive Noah's words as a question or a statement? Mr. Mitchell had asked that question of Mr. Morse right before we took our break, so I think it was after this question had been handed to me. And then the second was, was the tractor trailer ever searched? And I'm just going to ask him, but then advise you. Mr. Morse, do you know of your own personal knowledge whether the tractor trailer was ever searched while you were there?
No, sir.
All right. But I am advised by both sides that there will be evidence on that particular question. So there will be some additional evidence on the search of the tractor trailer. All right. And your last question is whether or not you can get a tour of this building. You absolutely can get a tour of this building, and we'll try to conduct that under appropriate circumstances when the time is available to us. So we have a brand new Justice Center that county mayor and county legislative body has gifted us with, so to speak. And if you had to be trying this case in the old courthouse where we were, it would be a completely different scenario. This is a beautiful building, and it's really helping us to get this case over with in a much better environment. All right, with that then, are there any other questions for Mr. Morse? Does the defense have any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Morse. Then you are free to go.
Thank you.
All right. State may call your next witness.
Chad Bailey.
Chad Bailey. Step right up again and raise your right hand one more time and let the clerk place you under oath.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this case be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am. So help me God.
Thank you.
Mr. Bailey, will you state your full name, please?
William C. Bailey.
Thank you. Will you spell your first and last name?
William, W-I-L-L-I-A-M. Last name Bailey, B-A-I-L-E-Y.
Thank you. And Mr. Bailey, where do you work?
I worked with the Murray County Office of Emergency Management I'm the special operations chief.
Okay, and how long have you been doing that?
I've been employed with them doing this for going on 5 years now.
5 years. And what was your background before your current position?
I'm also full-time employed with the City of Columbia Fire Department. I've been with them going on 13 years. I've been in emergency services almost a total of 31 years.
31 years?
Yes, sir.
So
Started very early.
Yes, you must have. So in 31 years of emergency operations experience, is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
All right. And what is a search and rescue team?
Our STAR team, and what they do, we are deployed for missing persons, people with Alzheimer's have wandered off, children who've wandered off or from home. We assist agencies, law enforcement agencies in locating those people, along with we've assisted State Forestry Service, State Park Service and stuff.
And who makes up the SAR team or search and rescue team?
We have a very broad group. Our team consists of law enforcement agencies, partners, firemen, EMS personnel. We have some park service. A lot of vast majority of them are volunteer.
Okay. Do you use any type of specialized equipment?
We do. We use thermal imagings. We do. Been through a lot of them. Been certified through man tracking school. We actually, our office, our former director, helped create kind of the program that the state Tennessee Office of Emergency Management utilizes now to teach agencies on how to do search and stuff.
Okay.
We utilize a lot of technology, computer-based programs, unmanned aerial devices, and stuff like that.
What about canines?
We do utilize canines. We have 2 handlers that we primarily use who are part of our teams. They have been on countless searches and made countless finds.
Thank you. And on the morning of April the 4th of 2018, were you dispatched to go to Dixon County, Tennessee?
Yes, sir. Director Blackwood received a phone call around, just off the top of my head, I believe around 11:30ish, from TEMA Regional Operation, TEMA Air Representative Michael Reinhardt, requesting the possibility of a mission for a missing autistic 5-year-old.
Okay, so you got a
male.
call for a mission to assist with a missing young boy.
Yes, sir.
Is that fairly common to go outside of Maury County?
Yes, sir.
Do you have an agreement or interlocal agreement with other counties or Middle Tennessee to do that?
And no, sir. I just go off of their requests.
If somebody calls,
we'll go anywhere.
Good deal.
If requested.
Do you know about what time you arrived in Dixon County on April the 4th, 2018?
From the time we received the initial phone call request to the mission was actually accepted and processed, we got our group together. I believe we arrived around maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon-ish.
1 o'clock on April 4th, 2018?
Yes, sir.
Did you go to a command center first?
Our first assignment, which in the vehicle that I was driving with retired director Blackwood was with me, we were leading. We initially were sent to the Tennessee City Fire Station.
Okay.
Once we met up there, I believe he made contact with either Brent, Morse, or Michael Reinhardt. They redeployed us to the scene at that intersection. Unfortunately, I'm sorry about that. I don't know the names of the streets. I just know the main road. But we met there.
After you met up with, I think you said Mr. Morse from TEMA, where did you go then?
We got our assignments. I parked my vehicle in a driveway. Our team with their trailer, our support trailer, was located and positioned off a side street. We rendezvoused and got our assignment, said a quick prayer, and on foot walked to the home.
Did you go to 1112 Garners Creek Road?
If that's the address, I believe, yes, sir.
Okay.
The address.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Bailey, I'm going to show you a series of photos. I'm going to show them to you one at a time.
Yes, sir.
First, can you identify this photograph?
Yes, sir. This is a photograph of the back porch,
The back
door-
porch of the residence?
the back porch of the residence we went to, the doorway that we utilized to enter and exit the structure.
Thank you. And Mr. Bailey, I'm going to ask you to look towards the big screen, and does what we see on the screen, is it the same photograph that I've got in front of you here?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll move that as the next exhibit.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bailey, can you identify this photograph?
Yes, sir, I can.
And what is that?
This is the interior, the upper left corner of the doorway with a clasp and a fly trap.
Thank you. And
I'm
now,
sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't understand. With what?
A clasp, like a locking clasp.
you said something else too. What else did you describe in that photograph?
A fly trap, a hanging fly trap.
Is a fly trap hanging from the ceiling?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you to look at the big screen. Are we looking at the same photographs?
Yes, sir, we are.
I'll move that as the next exhibit.
34.
And Mr. Bailey, can you identify this photograph?
Yes, I can.
What is that?
That is a key that appears to be to a master lock that was located on the mantle against the wall.
Okay. The mantle inside the residence that you went to?
To the left, yes.
Okay. And now look at the big screen, please. Oh,
Yes, that is it.
same photograph?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bailey, can you identify this photograph?
Yes, I can.
And what is that?
That is a master padlock
Okay. And where is that master padlock located?
laying on a mantle on the fireplace, above the fireplace.
Thank you. Now I'll ask you to look at the television. Is that the same photograph?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I need to make those last two photographs, the next two exhibits. I think they'll be 36 and 37.
35 and 36.
There's one off. Mr. Bailey, can you identify this photograph?
Yes, sir. This is the looking from the interior of the home, looking out that doorway. The corner of several toys collected in the corner, and some toys standing by the fireplace with the TV on the right.
Thank you. And I'll ask you to look at the big screen.
This is the same photograph.
All right. I'll move that as exhibit 37. Now, before we go on, Mr. Bailey, you see all the toys. Is that how the toys appeared when you arrived?
Yes, sir.
And you, about what time did you enter the residence, if you can recall?
Approximately maybe 25, 30 minutes after we had arrived initially on scene. So I would say putting that around maybe 1:30ish.
And can you identify this photograph?
Yes, I can.
And what is that?
That is of the coffee table.
As it appeared when you arrived?
Yes.
All right. And is it the same photograph that we see on the big screen?
Yes, sir.
I'll move that as the next exhibit, please.
38.
I want to leave that photograph up on the screen for just a minute. Mr. Bailey, when you first arrived at the residence, did you go all the way inside, or where were you?
No, sir. Director Blackwood and Brent Morse with TEMA, they were going in to conduct a lost person questionnaire. That is a form that we perform on every operation we go on. That's one of the first things we do before we really do anything to get our basic information on who we were looking for. At that time, I stood at the doorway that was shown in the photographs.
The doorway with the latch at the top?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's where you were standing in the doorway?
Yes, sir. I had my foot in the doorway and stood in the corner. It's hard to describe it.
Sure.
I had my foot holding the door open where I was listening and observing and taking mental notes at that point.
Okay.
I did not want to go in at that point.
And you testified that the purpose for Mr. Morse and Blackwood going inside was to complete the lost persons questionnaire?
Yes, sir. They in certain situations in the past, the more people in there kind of causes some issues. So the less people in, it kind of makes it a more better environment for the people to open up and discuss things.
Okay. As you were standing at the door, did you hear a child say anything?
I did.
What did you hear?
I heard a young child voice speak kind of loudly, come in and say, "Joe dead? Joe dead? Joe dead?"
And how many times did you hear that?
Approximately 3 to 4 times.
Okay. Did you hear a response?
I did hear a response. It was of an older female voice. "Yes, baby, Joe dead."
All right. And you're sure that a child said, "Joe dead, Joe dead, Joe dead"?
At the time, again, just I have children of my own, and it was not an adult, mature voice. It was a younger voice.
Okay. Now, could you see the person or child that made the 3 remarks, "Joe dead, Joe dead, Joe dead"?
At that point where I was positioned, no, sir.
Okay. You could only hear.
I only heard.
And could you see the person that responded, "Yes, Joe's dead"?
From where I was standing, not at that point, no, sir.
Okay. What did you do after you heard those statements?
Mentally, I thought to myself, this just escalated. Did I just hear what I just heard? I looked at a deputy who was standing on the other side of the door who was there with us, asked him, "Did you just hear that?" His response was, "No, I didn't hear anything. I couldn't hear nothing."
And what was his position in relation?
He was more standing off to the left or side, farther away from the door, not as close as I was.
In the exterior of the home?
Exterior of the home. At that point, after collecting my thoughts, I migrated into the doorway with the door closed behind me.
When you went inside the residence, did you have a conversation with the defendant?
Yes, at that point, Mr. Daniels was standing over near the fireplace or had come up to me at the fireplace.
What did the defendant tell you?
Most every question I'll ask people in a type of situation is what is your relation? He explained it. He was the father. Some conversation was carried on. I don't remember the particulars to it, but I asked the question about the lasp on the door, and he explained to me, "Yeah, we lock it because he likes to run off." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, was it locked?" His response was, "I found the lock in the toy box."
The defendant told you that he found the lock in the toy box.
Yes, sir.
And was there a toy box or anything?
The toy box to the right, there was 2.
Okay.
There was like a toy box in the corner and then like a wagon, a reddish toy box that had the other toys piled on it.
Did the defendant tell you how the lock got back on top of the mantle?
I asked him something to the fact that, well, how do you think that happened? Or how he said, well, he said he believed that he pushed that table over, climbed up on top of the table, found the key and unlocked it. And then at some point must have pushed that table back to where it was and exited the residence, all while they were asleep.
That's what the defendant told you?
That is what was told to me.
That the missing child had pushed the coffee table to that door?
Yes, sir.
The door that you were standing in?
Yes, sir.
And he told you that he found the lock?
Yes,
and the
sir.
key? And unlocked the padlock?
Yes, sir.
That's what the defendant told you?
Yes, sir.
And the defendant also told you that he recovered the padlock?
Yes, sir.
From the toy box?
Yes, sir.
And you saw a photograph of the key on the mantle, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. What did you do then?
I mentally noted that.
And what did you think?
Objection.
What did he think? Is that what you asked?
Yes, sir.
It would seem to me to be asking for him for his impression or opinion about something with an honor.
Yes.
How is that admissible?
Well, he's just described what the defendant told him as to how Joe Clyde Daniels escaped, and he's standing in the room observing whether it was possible to move the table over to the door and climb up and unlock the padlock and push the table back over to the center of the room and leave without anyone noticing it.
I think under the way you have the question formed, you're asking for his mental impression or whatever. I think that under the present form of the question, I would have to sustain the objection.
Yes, sir.
You can rephrase your question.
Yes, sir. What did you do next after the defendant made those statements to you?
Not much. I just explained we'll do our best to try to locate him. They were still finishing up the loss questionnaire at that point. Once that was complete, then we had permission from them to have 2 of our team members clear the structure from top to bottom. That's a standard practice we do. We do another search of our own. So we were at that point 100% accurate that the child was not in that trailer or that home.
As part of the search and rescue team, did you go to other residences, you and or members of your team, with K9 and search?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. I'm going to ask you if you can identify this map.
Yes, I can.
I want you to hold that for just a second, but I'm also going to put it on the screen so that everyone can see it. Now, Mr. Bailey, we have placed some yellow thumbtacks at different addresses. Are those addresses that you and or members of your team went to with a K9 unit?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to step over to the big screen.
I'd like to add, yes, with a K9 unit and by foot.
K9 unit and foot.
And foot.
And I'll start with the location in which the lost person questionnaire was being completed. Is that 1112 Garner Street?
That is correct.
All right. And how many people were on your team that day?
Off of memory, roughly, maybe we may have had 10, maybe.
And do you divide up and go to separate places, or do all 10 members go to each individual location?
Yes, we were divided into groups of 2 to 3.
And where did you go specifically after leaving 1112 Garner Street?
After we, Director Blackwood and myself and Brent, we exited the structure. We discussed what we heard. It was then told to me who made what comments. We then broke off into multiple assignments. We got our assignments, set up our org chart and deployed. My attempt at that time, my assignment was to do a hasty search of the 1112 Garner Creek property. I began around the house, and then my perimeter expands each time, looking for anything that's out of the ordinary.
Did you find anything in the front yard?
In the front yard, we did locate a underground septic tank that was uncovered. That was noted. We then located the vehicles, of course, where they were parked.
Roughly in the
Yes,
area behind
yes, we located that. I then checked the swing set to the left of the property. Kind of see a little dot there where your stick is. That tree line, there was a chain link fence that ran that length. We checked it, worked my way to the backyard, up around the dry creek, and then to the northeastern corner where you're pointing to a group of trees and bushes where I noticed a cleared area that's kind of like a little play area that maybe some kids would have played in a bushy area.
Did you observe anything in that location?
Yes, I did. Some disturbed ground and some vomit with appeared to be corn kernels and stuff in it, located in that.
Now, when you are on a mission, a search and rescue mission looking for a lost, missing person, do you physically collect evidence such as vomit when you observe it?
That was not my role, and we do not. We allow law enforcement to collect.
But you did indicate that vomit in one of your sketches, is that correct?
Yes, it is noted in in our first word chart assignment, and it is noted on the back in the rough sketch.
And where did you proceed after noting the vomit on your sketch?
From that point, I believe we cleared that area and reported back to where we started.
Okay.
After we cleared that, and then we got another assignment. I believe that next one was over to the 1115 Garner's Creek. We checked it. Well, my assignment, yes. We cleared around that home, same process from an inner circle to an outer, looking for any types of tracks, anything like that, anything out of the ordinary. And then we met back up at the roadway, got a reassignment to the house with the red roof. We cleared that one along with that barn that is down to the bottom left.
Where I'm pointing now?
Yes, sir. We cleared that. At some point, I believe the dogs had picked up some type of track in that cornfield at the time. To your bottom left, right there. Yes. That was cleared. I do believe it was cleared by UAV also. My team was then redeployed to 1101. That home was locked. No one was home, but we did clear the exterior and the crawl space. By opening the crawl space, it was observed there were spider webs and cobwebs that had not been disturbed. That's a good indication that there was nothing there, nothing had tried to go in. We cleared that barn to the southeast of it also. Nothing was observed there. We then reported back to command.
And at the time, was there a command post set up?
Yes, their command post was up there. Our unified command was located at the end of the driveway of Garner's Creek. At there, that's where we set up our our team's command post. Yes, sir.
The larger command post here?
Yes, it was all everybody. The TBI had their vehicle there. I believe Dixon County EMA had their command truck there or rescue truck. Evening with Sheriff Bledsoe.
And when you arrived on scene at approximately 1 o'clock or whatever time, how many folks were gathered in this general area as far as search and rescue, emergency services, citizens there volunteering?
I could not tell you how many because it was countless. At the time we arrived, of course, everyone, it seemed like in Dixon County and Middle Tennessee was there, along with law enforcement agency partners, local agencies. There was a dive team or water team in that big creek, that big pond, trying to search it. Yes, they had a boat in it, searching it. There's multiple ponds in that area, just on the northern side above the frame. Yes, above that. I mean, there were searchers everywhere: ATVs, motorcycles, skateboards, everything you can think of, just about. But there was multiple community members there, and at that time, everyone was under the impression that they are looking for a missing child.
Move the map as the next exhibit.
Exhibit 39.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bailey, you completed, well, first, can you identify this?
Yes, I can.
What is that?
This is our org chart.
What does that mean?
Through NIMS, we utilize this form of a chart to make assignments, to group people together for operations to where it helps control and span of control. So you understand how many people, you know where people are, and people understand who they report to, and a chain of command.
Okay. I'm going to ask this to be displayed on the screen. So you called it an org chart,
Yes, sir.
and what is NIMS?
NIMS is it is a nationwide program that is based on the Instant Command System. It was initially started out west from the Fire Association for the wildfire situation. It's a way to keep track of people and to run a command structure.
So on this, we have operations section, Florida County, search and rescue, Blackwood. Is Blackwood with TEMA?
He was at the time our director of emergency management in Murray County. He is now retired.
And this says, what is this?
Our first op, that was the first mission we did, or the first hasty search that we did, they assigned us to.
And what's this breakdown?
The
Starting with Team 1.
Team 1, that was my team. I was head of it. Our assignment was to check vehicles, and then the perimeter, which it just says vehicles on there, but we checked the perimeter and everything. Team 2 was assigned to the 2 outbuildings on the property.
And we're talking about 1112.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Their mission was that. Team 3 was team leader Henley and Gandy. They cleared the structure. Team 4 was the crawl space. It was Officer Ryan and Colton. They cleared the crawl space under the trailer or under the home. The next one was the perimeter again, was Officer Barber and Deputy Birdsong with the Sheriff's Department in Murray County. They cleared the exterior also. But it was almost like a redundant search with us. And then medical was Supervisor Doug Vineyard. When we deploy on any mission, we carry our own EMS with us, ALS support. In case something goes wrong with us, we have our people that we trust.
So this is a support position?
Yes.
Providing medical support to your team?
Yes, sir. And if something was, if the child was located, he would have been more like, if we found it, would have been first one there to help treat.
I'll move that as the next exhibit.
Marked as Exhibit 40.
Mr. Bailey, can you identify that photograph?
Yes, I can.
What is that?
It is the upside down photo of the residence that was documented, the sketch, rough sketch, on the back of that previous page.
So it's the sketch for Operation 1?
Yes, sir.
Put that on the screen. Would this be Garner's Creek Road?
Yes, sir.
Look, I mean, this is obviously a rough sketch, correct?
Yes, sir.
Was it intended to be to scale?
No, sir. It is just to make a documentation.
And let's point out some of the things that you noted in the sketch. What is this?
That is the home, the residence.
What's this?
Those are the 2 outbuildings.
What are these?
That is the blue 18-wheeler tractor trailer, and the 2 in the pickup truck that contained bags of trash, and the red car.
All right. What's this?
The open septic tank, or yes, septic tank.
And obviously, from my view, this is upside down. Does that say open sewer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And was that septic tank drained?
We did request through, I believe, the TEMA to request a sump truck from a septic company to respond out there to drain the septic tank in order for us to clear 100% that nothing was located.
And what's this say?
The swing set.
That's in the background?
Yes, sir.
Backyard?
Yes, sir.
And over here?
Where I located the vomit and disturb ground.
Does that say bushes?
Yes, sir.
And below that vomit?
Yes, sir.
Move that to the next exhibit.
Exhibit 41.
Mr. Bailey, let's go to your second mission. Can you identify that document?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
This is our second mission that when we started searching some of their surrounding homes.
All right, let's put that on the screen. Same kind of breakdown.
Yes, sir.
No need to go through it individually, but barn, house, canine. Does that say creek?
Yes, sir.
And again, you got the medical person.
Yes, sir.
And second mission.
Yes, sir.
Move that as the next exhibit.
Marked as 43.
Can you identify that?
Yes, I can.
What is that?
Let me correct myself. 42 is the last exhibit.
This is the sketch, rough sketch on the backside of that previous page of the second mission.
So you have, again, is this to scale?
No, sir.
This is just documenting where you went?
Yes, sir.
It looks like multiple addresses, correct?
Yes, sir.
What's this address?
This is 1115.
What's that?
That would be the basement or the crawl space. No, the basement of that structure, yes.
Here?
That is the, maybe, I think he scratched it, but it looks like barn, maybe.
Barn?
or something. I don't know what he wrote there. I can't tell. Boat. And maybe the boat. It was the boat. There was a boat parked in that driveway. That is the barn.
What's this?
Maybe kennel. Maybe.
What about this address?
1108. The outside suite. There was no one home. That was the home house that no one was there.
What does that mean, an outside suite?
Of course, the doors were locked, so we're not going to make entry without permission, but we just check everything around bushes, behind bushes, under porches, under doors, anything that we think that anyone could crawl up under. You'd be surprised where kids would go.
And this address?
1101. Again, that's the one that no one was home either, and we did the crawl space. That's that barn that I referred to that was in the back of it. That's on the northern part of the property, the area.
Move that as the next exhibit.
That would be good.
Mr. Bailey, can you identify this document?
Yes, this is the third one, the third mission we did, or third search.
I can put that on the screen. Third operation or third mission, and what is safety, Brian?
Chief Brian is our special operations safety officer. He is also the safety officer, training officer for the city of Spring Hill. We carry again him with us when we deploy on any mission. We try to, especially out of county, we try to take all assets that would support our team and our team only.
Move that as the next exhibit.
44.
Can you identify this document?
Yes, this is the sketch of the previous page, the backside.
Put that on the screen, please.
1114, yes, sir.
14, perimeter and crawl space.
Yes, sir.
So if it says perimeter and crawl space, does that mean no one entered the house?
Correct. No one was into the house. Either no one came to the door, or no one was home, or we weren't able to gain access or get permission to search that property. So we did, but we cleared the outside and the crawl space.
Move that as the next exhibit.
45.
All right, and finally, Mr. Bailey, just to again kind of go over the different residences that your team went to. We have 112 Garner Street,
Yes, sir.
1108 Garner Street,
Yes, sir.
1114 Garner Street,
Yes, sir.
1115 Garner Street.
Yes, sir.
And I don't have this one labeled, but you testified, you searched this,
Yes, sir.
and 1101 Garner Street.
Yes, sir. 1115 is where the boat was. That's where the boat was. Yes, the boat was in that driveway. I do remember.
I have 1 second. Pass the witness.
Cross-examine. The city council decided. We've got a cubby hole around here that I made them all come back there so I could talk to them. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, one of the things we were talking about is we're going to finish with this witness before we break for lunch. I know they're bringing lunch in for you. That may put us to 12:30 roughly or so, but that should work out all right with your lunch. We're going to probably quit at 5 o'clock tonight because you have to be relocated, as you know. So we're going to try to get that taken care of for you. The last thing was that one of you have asked a question of this witness, and that what is the approximate height of the mantle where the lock and key were located. I'm not sure that he knows, but I'm going to ask it for him. Do you know where the lock and key were located on the mantle, how high that mantle is, approximately?
I can't.
All right, that's fine.
Sir, I'm sorry.
I think there may be other witnesses who can testify about that issue, so we'll just reserve that question. Thank you. Mr. Lockhart, you may cross-examine.
Officer Bailey, how many days did you work in regard to the search effort at this location?
I was there just for the first day on the 4th.
All right. And how many dogs would have been working that area that day? Do you have any idea?
From our team, 2.
All right. And what about other teams?
I can't speak for them.
Okay. And where all did your 2 dogs work?
I did not go with the handlers, so I do not know where they worked.
Did you see dogs working in the Daniels residence yard?
I didn't witness our team's dogs work the yard.
And what parts of the yard did they work?
They started a track from the back of the residence, and then they went on their own. I did not follow them.
All right. When they left, did they go out from the back out, or did one of the dogs go to the front of the house, then the front yard?
Again, I saw them start from the back, and then they went on their mission and had their assignment. I don't know. I did not follow them at that point. I stayed on my assignment.
So you didn't see, to your knowledge, a dog working in the front yard of the house?
Not to my knowledge.
Right. And did you overhear any conversations from the folks in the house about the amount of time that Joe Clyde Daniels had been missing?
I did not know.
And do you know if they discussed the fact passing indicates that the child could be dead?
I did not hear anything of that, no.
All right. And Mr. Daniels told you what he thought happened in regard to Joe Clyde getting out.
Yes.
He didn't tell
so.
you that did happen. He just told you that's what he thought might have happened.
He told me what he found and what he believed happened at that point.
And did you go over to the coffee table to see how easily it would roll on the floor?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you notice that the coffee table was on casters or rollers that made it easy to push?
No, I did not. I did not examine the coffee table.
And based on looking at the coffee table, would a child over 4 foot tall be able to stand on that coffee table and take a lock off the latch?
Without doing proper measurements, sir, I can't answer that question.
All right. Were you ever requested to do a search at a house where that same morning a mother had reported that her child's footwear were taken off her porch?
No, sir.
So no one ever requested you take a dog up there and try to pick up a scent from that area?
I was not responsible for the dogs at that time, so no, sir.
And were you ever requested to send people to that location and do a search?
I'm not aware of that, sir.
So you were not requested? I'm asking, were you requested? You said you're not aware. You would be aware if someone asked you to do it, wouldn't you?
I was not requested.
Okay. And by the same token, were you requested to either take people to or take a dog to a location where a lady said her little girl saw a little boy in dirty pajamas?
No.
If you had been requested to go to those locations and search and take dogs, you would have done so, wouldn't you?
If we were requested.
All right. The septic tank, you testified, was uncovered. And did you try to find out why it was uncovered?
I personally did not.
All right. And did you observe shovels at the residence that would have been used to dig the dirt off the top of the septic tank?
I did not observe any shovels.
The vomit that you saw was approximately how far from the Daniels residence?
Approximately maybe 200 feet.
All right. And did scent dogs, to your knowledge, were they used to pick up or try to pick up a scent at that location?
I do not know if they went that way or not.
Did you ask that the vomit be tested to see if a dog had thrown that up?
We passed that on to Sheriff Bledsoe and advised him what was located.
And would you have liked to known if that was a dog throw up or human throw up?
Yes, I would.
Approximately when did they begin draining the pond?
I can't answer that. It was in process before we arrived.
Okay. And what would just everyday people think if they've lost a child and they see law enforcement draining a pond?
I can't speak for what everyday people would think, sir.
So you don't think adults would be worried the child was dead if they're draining a pond? They think their child was...
Mr. Walker was asking for his opinion, which he objected.
Well, I sustained an objection that the defense made to you asking him what he believed at that time, and I would be, in fairness, have to sustain this objection because I think that's the same principle. You're asking him to suppose what people generally would think, and I think that's an inappropriate question. Sustain the objection.
So you're not in a position to even give an opinion on that, is that correct?
I don't believe I'm in the position to give an opinion on that, sir.
That's all the questions I have.
Redirect. Thank you, sir. You may step down, and I'm assuming we're releasing him from his subpoena, correct? You are released from your subpoena. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I believe that'll bring us to our lunchtime hour, so we'll go ahead and take our lunch recess. Let's be in recess till 1:15. We'll be in recess till 1:15.
All rise.
Recording stopped.
This court is in recess.
Deputy Cox, when you finish, I need to see you.
I'm just going to say, could you just remind me? Yeah.